Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Remember, all lines are open, and we've got a great guest. I'm going to get into that in just a moment. Welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490 AM, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for retirement and how to best stay successfully retired. Now, hang on, because we will be having as our guest Dr. Phau. And Dr. Phau is a professor of retirement income at the American College of Finance, which is, very well recognized. He is RICP program director, and we can ask him more about that. But he definitely has his areas of expertise: annuities, financial planning, investments, life insurance and planning, life insurance practices, portfolio management, and retirement planning. Dr. Phau has won numerous influencer awards. He's one of my biggest influencers, and I've seen him in person a couple times, and I'm always there on the internet when I can. When he's talking, he's a 2-time winner of the Journal of Financial Planning award, a 2-time winner of the Academic Thought Leadership Award from the Retirement Income Industry Association, and a Best Paper Award in the retirement category from the Academy of Financial Services. Dr. Phau holds a doctorate in economics and a master's degree, both of those from Princeton University, Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science degrees from University of Iowa. He's also a Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA. So don't go away. And remember, give me a call or email me or visit me at drheckham.com. You can also, if you like the longer version, theeducatedretirementradio.com, or email me at bestloantoday@gmail.com. And, be sure to jump over to the YouTube channel. That's where it's at, right there. And you will find lots of good stuff there, including all of these shows. And a link to this show when it's live. And we have little bits and pieces of other shows, guests separated. If you want to see those people, it's easy to find there. And, or you can call me at 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. And knowledge is power, remember. My day job, I got one. I'm a loan officer at a place called the Loan Source, NMLS 384565, Department of Real Estate, although I don't sell real estate, but I've got lots of connections and can help you when you're looking for that kind of a connection. But that number is 792-630. So I'm going to push along and get into something really important. October, we're going to go into national months instead of days, because, things are bigger today because we have a great guest. October is National Bat Appreciation Month. And, if they got away with that with the real famous Universal movies, I guess we can get away with it here. But do you know a bat eats up to 1,200 mosquitoes an hour? And bat droppings called guano, that was the #1 largest mineral export from Texas until they found oil. Also, October is long-term care planning month. Oh, which I should show you this, because this goes along with this. And just a little something. I'll be on that webinar on October 28th at 4 p.m. Give me a call, or I'll be putting that up on the blog um, to help you get there if you'd like to. So long-term care is so important. You will live longer than you expect to, so you need to plan. But I'm not sure there's any way to plan for an exact number of years. I think Dr. Phau said that at one time that I copied. Anyway, when it comes to the Heckam or reverse, know the facts, compare the numbers. It's much too important an issue to ignore, and you certainly don't want to eliminate it based on not fully understanding it. Remember that equity availability programs like this are not a belief system. It's not a religion. It's just math. The flexibility and security it gives to you and your family, well, that's a lot more than math. So let's move on to whose birthday this is today. It is Angela Lansbury's birthday, and she popped into this world in 1925, which means she's 94 years old right now, and she probably has long-term care. She was an actress, singer, writer, and producer. She considered herself obsessed with cinema, studying acting, piano, and acting and piano and singing. At age 16, she was earning $50 a week in a nightclub singing Noel Coward songs. I don't know if she sang anything else, but Noel Coward's got to be pretty interesting. Her first film is when she was 17, and that was Gaslight, for which she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Actor. They call them all actors these days. The next one was The Picture of Dorian Gray, and she was nominated again for Best Supporting Actress. She played in over 50 films. Later, as an older person, like myself, she did such roles as Manchurian Candidate, which I remember I saw in the movies when it first came out on Wilshire Boulevard with my mommy and daddy, and where she played the mother of Lawrence Harvey, although she was only 3 years older than he was. And of course, another nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Also a Broadway star in such plays as Auntie Mame. I remember as an urchin, I really loved that movie. Gypsy, The King and I, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, where she played Mrs. Nellie Lovett, who makes meat pies out of body parts supplied by Sweeney Todd from his barber chair. So this earned her a 4th Tony Award. We'll just take a... remember there was a Tim Burton film that also came out, which was, I thought, really good, which featured his wife, and and Johnny Depp was actually singing. Of course, his dream was to become a rock star. Anyway, but the makers of Columbo cast her in Murder, She Wrote, that ran for 12 years. So that turned out well. And that was kind of the American version of Miss Marple. Now, let me, this is the best version of Beauty and the Beast as far as I'm concerned. But, it's not the one we're talking about. This is the Cocteau version. And a lot of this was taken for Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. And Francis Ford Coppola's Dementia 13 was on television today. Anyway, that's what you do during a lockdown. She sang the song Beauty and the Beast in the Disney animated version as Miss Potts, which was a pot. And And that was right after she got off a plane that had a bomb scare. So she was a little bit nervous, but I think that version of Beauty and the Beast was absolutely wonderful. It sounded great, so much better than the more pop version they had at the end of that. She was a real standout. Tim Robbins was also born on this day in 1958, so he's still around too, but he's a bit younger. And he started acting at 12 years old in high school in a high school drama club, and eventually earning a Bachelor's of Arts from the UCLA Film School. He then founded a group called Actors Gang in Los Angeles, which was an experimental theater group with a friend of his by the name of John Cusack. I wonder what happened to him. No, just joking. So he got starring roles in television shows such as Saint Elsewhere, which I don't think I've ever seen, Moonlighting, which I don't think I've ever seen, and Love Boat, which I probably saw. I think that came before that. His films, Shawshank Redemption, yes, I have a copy. I just couldn't find it. But that's okay. Shawshank Redemption won 6 nominations and put the director, Darabont, in really good stead with the writer, who was Stephen King. Anyway, he was also in Mystic River. That's right here. Jacob's Ladder. The Player. Now, let me talk about The Player. And yeah, I have it on DVD too, but this is easier to see. To me, probably the best film about movies. And there's a lot of other good ones out there. You remember Truffaut's Day for Night and a bunch of... Anyway, but this is about a movie where what they're talking about and acting through is the one you're actually watching. And that takes one heck of a lot of creativity. All of the cameos, and there were a lot of them, were ad-lib parts, and all of the salaries for those cameos went to the Motion Picture and Television Hospital for those retired of that industry. So that was pretty good. And that film was directed by a real genius, Robert Altman. Then there was the Hudsucker Proxy. And again, I've got a bigger version to show you. Now this is in this family, this is one of our 2 go-to films for New Year's, along with Woody Allen's Radio Days. This is a must. You got to add this to your New Year's list. But one thing I find it hard to imagine is that Tom Cruise was the first choice for Norville Barnes, who was played by our birthday player today, and it's just hard for me to believe that the Coen brothers would have gone and looked for Tom Cruise. But I give them a lot of leeway. They do some great work. Clint Eastwood, as well as Jack Nicholson, was considered for Sidney Musburger, Double Stitch Pants, remember? Or you should when you see it. And that part ended up with a great performance by Paul Newman. But I think probably any of those would have been pretty good. He also directed a film called Dead Man Walking, for which he was nominated for Best Director. I'm going to show you a 3-record set. This is great music. We have a lot of what I think great soundtrack original music with a real Middle Eastern kind of tinge, which I really like. But we've got Bruce Springsteen, Johnny Cash, Suzanne Vega, Lyle Lovett, and of course one of my favorite all-timers, Ry Cooder, and there's also Mary Chapin Carpenter. Remember that, Bruce? That goes back a ways. So anyway, there's that one. Who else was born today? Bert Kempert. Now, Sean, do you remember Bert Kempert?
I can't say I do.
Well, I don't blame you in some ways. He was an orchestra leader, music producer, and composer. I talked to a friend of mine earlier today in Florida, and he's a real Beatles freak, and he reminded me that he had a lot to do with some of the Beatles' rise to power and popularity. He owned some, or at least one big nightclub in Germany that they did a big thing in. Anyway, he made easy listening and jazz-oriented records. I'm not going to call it jazz, but that's what he's known as. And, I really like it. And I'm, if you've listened to me before, I am no fan for easy listening too much. Some of the more exotic stuff, yes. And I'm no fan of elevator music, but my God, this guy did some really nice stuff. His first international hit was Wonderland by Night in 1959. He wrote music for Sinatra, Al Martino, Wayne Newton, Nat King Cole, and Johnny Mathis. His music was used in scores of so many films. He gave a new meaning, I think, to easy listening and elevator music. And like I said, I really like it. I'm going to show you some stuff. Now, I've got some really nice repressed, real thick vinyl, but I didn't go for that this time. This is a 3-record set, okay? And man, that's heavy, ain't it? And I'm going to show you just a few more. There's that one. There's this one. There's this one. Don't worry, I'll get off him in a minute. Bert Kempfert Now. Well, Now was quite a while ago. And his Touch. And Free and Easy. I don't know why I'm showing you so many. It's so cool to find these again that I got to share them with you. Okay. And the last one, Strangers in the Night. No, forget that. There we go. Okay. Now, we also need to get back to what happened this day in history. And then we're going to leave, have a break in a minute or two. And we're going to go on to the great, great Dr. Wade Phau, who has a lot to say. On this day in history, the film West Side Story was released. No, it wasn't. It was on the 16th. But on this day, no, today is the 16th. You know, I'm proud of myself. I can still read those little bitty numbers on the bottom of my computer. Lavender Hill Mob was released on the 15th in 1951. I think West Side Story was 61. Now, Alec Guinness was incredible, and I find it a little sad that most people today, if they know the name at all, think of him as Obi-Wan Kenobi. There are a couple of movies here. He did 4, and I think all 4 really great, amazing comedies that was done at Ealing Studios. My God, these are great. I guess there's another one that goes with it. Here's a book about Ealing Studios, and they did probably the best British sense of humor type of comedies with Alec Guinness. Kind Hearts and Coronets, and what was that other one?
Horse's
Captain's Paradise.
Horse's Mouth?
No, Horse's Mouth he did right after Bridge on the River Kwai, which I also think is a masterpiece. a small film, much different than the others. But it is said that Lavender Hill Mob gets kudos for it's being considered. It is considered as the 17th greatest British film of all time, no matter what type of film it is. And Ealing Studios did something that is classified as a horror film, although I'm not sure it's a horror film. I think of it more as interesting and pre Twilight Zone, because stories, you'll see a lot of things there, and also in the Twilight Zone. It's kind of a conglomerate. It's one story, but different people telling stories, and that's called Dead of Night. And I think it's on right now on Turner. So it's on in a half. Let me just say it's on in a half hour after Dr. Phau. So don't go away. This is more important. And with that, I'm going to let Sean take it back so our advertisers can get a break. And please don't go away. Our guest, Dr. Wade Phau, is one of the best I'm sure we have had in these years. Take care. Talk to you in a couple of minutes. And you will try again, correct, Sean? Yeah, okay. Keep it going. Am I on now? Hello, I'm on now. So I do want to let you know that Dr. Wade Phau is on his way to his computer to join us. And you can join the conversation and call in live at 951-922-3532, or as Sean would do it, 951-922-3532. Is that pretty close? He doesn't want to answer that, does he? Okay. So remember, you can join the live the conversation with that. You also have my phone number that you can call to get connecting information if and when you need it. Once again, I will do a bit of a introduction for Dr. Wade Phau, professor of retirement income, RICP program director. Areas of expertise would be annuities, financial planning, investments, life insurance planning, life insurance practices, portfolio management, retirement planning, and Dr. Phau has won numerous influencer awards. And he is here now, but he is a two-time winner. There's not a two-timer, no, two-time winner of the Journal of Financial Planning, and other awards, two-time winner also of the Academic Thought Leadership Award from Retirement Income Industry Association, and the Best Paper Award winner in the retirement category from the Academy of Financial Services. And again, we're going to throw it over to him, but, you know, he might be, I don't think he's shy. I mean, I'm not, but, you know, just in case, Dr. Phau holds a doctorate in economics and master's degree from Princeton University, Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science degrees from the University of Iowa. He's also a Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA, which means he can help you, actually, if you want him to. He's there. So let me throw this over to Dr. Phau, and go ahead and please tell us a little bit more about you and so forth.
Well, sure. Well, thanks, Jay. Thanks for the nice introduction. I think you covered most everything. Might not have mentioned, I live in Dallas now. I do work with the American College, and it's based out of the Philadelphia area, but I'm talking to you today from Dallas. And yeah, I just focus on different aspects of retirement income planning. I've got my website, retirementresearcher.com. and I've written a few books and working on a final book. And right now with Medicare as well, just it's the beginning of that annual enrollment period. So
Yeah,
loading up on
I do have your books, and I highly recommend them. We're gonna maybe, I hope Sean can put some pictures up of them before it's done. But I highly recommend people reach out to you or Amazon, whoever they buy these books from.
Great, thanks. Yeah, Amazon would be the place to go for that.
Yeah, and the audience we shoot for on this program is the I'm almost 75, but we don't want to say that. We'll just say those looking for retirement or those looking to plan ahead for retirement. But I think we're living in a very strange era. So I think you can be very well accepted and listen to anything that you would like to bring into the conversation related to finance, and if it covers retirement also, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different tools and techniques and strategies, and it's a challenge now with everything going on in the world and with low interest rates, but it's definitely doable to figure out how to put things together and get a good retirement strategy.
Yeah, what do you think people really should be doing as they're getting close to retirement? Or like me at my ripe old age, I'm still working. I love working. I think people need to be active to stay healthy. And I'm not the poster child for that exactly, but that's kind of what I think. So what would you think people approaching retirement age, what are the best things for them to be looking at other than calling you?
Well, right, like what you're saying about retirement in general, that it's definitely important to retire to something rather than retiring away from something.
Right, yeah.
Don't have a plan for how you're going to spend your days, it's not necessarily the best way to start retirement. And a lot of people might want to go back to work at that point just because they haven't really thought through how they're going to spend their days. But then beyond that, I mean, you've got the finances, Medicare decisions, Social Security claiming decisions, how to put together different tools, and that's a reverse mortgage can be part of that, things like annuities and so forth. Understanding that 4% rule of thumb about how you can spend from investments, all these different aspects to try to lay that foundation.
You think that 4% rule is still a good one?
Well, no, I'm not a big fan of it. It's a basic rule of thumb to get people started, but
yeah. Well, I don't mean to interrupt, but all three of your books are on the screen right now. And make sure we go and tell people how to get a hold of them in a little while. But that's all. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, it's so the idea is that when you retire, if you take out 4% of your money, and so if things are looking good and you retire with $1 million, that's $40,000, and you should be able to keep spending that same amount every year with keeping up with inflation, and your money should last for 30 years. And it's based on historical data. But today we really, with lower interest rates are lower than they ever were, and stock market valuations are high, and it's only based on US data. It didn't work with international data and so forth. So it's under more strain than the historical data would suggest.
Yeah, now I am telling listeners that they should have a financial planner, no matter whether they're worth $500,000 or $5. Because you never know. Some financial planners will cut you off unless you don't have $500,000. But I think most, especially if you're a little younger, you never know what's going to happen. And I think that that's a good plan. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, generally speaking. And I know some people, I tend to talk to people who are more do-it-yourself. And it's really their hobby is personal finance. And maybe some of the people listening to any radio show related to retirement, it could be more of a hobby. And there can be a case for doing things yourself, but especially if you have a spouse who's not as financially savvy, and just as you age and maybe want to spend your time doing different things, but otherwise there's so many issues that can be overlooked and mistakes can be made, that working with an advisor is always something to think about and consider.
Now you did say people talking to you, so those people are talking to a real live financial planner, being you. So, yeah, there is. I mean, I think they should get advice from whoever they should and could and would get them from. So why don't we take a half a minute or so and give out any and all of the contact information you may have. Now, I don't know whether you wanted to invite people to the class or the academy that you have, but go ahead and feel free.
Okay, well, thanks. I mean, sure, if anyone's interested. So again, my website is retirementresearcher.com. And earlier this year, we started up the Retirement Researcher Academy, which it has an annual membership. And there's all kinds of different workshops and discussion forums and tools and guide lists of things, checklists of what to do in retirement and so forth. And next week, I'll be doing a workshop on Medicare.
Very timely, yeah.
Yeah, overlapping with the annual enrollment period, that if people don't know, like if you're already part of Medicare, every year you can update your prescription drug plan or your Medicare Advantage plan, and in some cases the supplement or Medigap plans.
Yeah, and so many people just keep going with what they first had, and they should be looking, they should be understanding these things.
Yeah, your situation can change, and also the coverage terms can change, the prescription drug lists can change, and so you might save yourself hundreds or thousands of dollars by just spending a few hours looking at the options each fall.
This is a good thing. I mean, I can't believe some of the I've taken for this pancreatitis, what the contribution from my Medicare plan has been huge, and ours has been pretty good size too. But I mean, without that Medicare add-on that I have, I'd be in trouble.
Oh yeah, those. Like the most risk-averse approach would be to go with the original Medicare and add that comprehensive add-on supplement, which used to be Plan F if you're just signing, and for anyone who is enrolled before January 1st of this year is still Plan F, but Plan G for any new enrollees.
Now, when you have these workshops, that's not an hour workshop, right?
My workshops have tended to the long side. We say 2 to 3 hours. I don't do them in advance to know exactly how long they take. And the last one on taxes took 4 hours to get.
Oh man,
but
it's a whole nother subject, but we won't get into too much of that right now. Taxes and retirement is another, and I'd love to have you back to talk about that. That's a whole different thing. But you also have this 3 or 4 hour class, or workshop, I should call it, because I'm sure it's, interactive to some point. And then like several days or a week later, you also have a question and answer period. So people just don't take some notes and go away, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, and there's also discussion forums, so great opportunities to ask questions. And I mean, the website, it's really designed for the people who either do-it-yourself retirees or maybe working with an advisor, but also want to stay on top and understand all the decisions that they're making and so forth.
Yeah, and I bet you have a lot of advisors that may not be telling their clients that they're watching that, but I bet they are. Is that right?
Yeah, so my audience is mixed. There are some advisors as well who the idea is to do it for their own personal planning, but indeed, they could benefit from that for their clients.
Yeah, and I would highly, if you do nothing else, at least check out the website, Retirement Researcher. Remember that retirement is in the name, and that makes it right up at the top of our list. Retirement planner. Go ahead and give it one more time.
Yeah, it's all one word, Retirement Researcher. And there's an ER at the end. It's not, sometimes people think retirement research, but it's the person, the retirement researcher.
.com, right?
.com. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Now, anything that you can add to this special period of time that we are in? I mean, this is something I thought I would never live through. Okay? And it's, from a overall financial, for the people who are working and are relying on paychecks, it's pretty awful overall. And, is there anything special that we should cover when it comes to living in this period of time, trying to survive this period of time, no matter how long it lasts, and what maybe to do including speaking with you, about a plan to get, when this starts to go away.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, certainly taking care of yourself, and if you're still working and have that opportunity and are able to keep your job, just being serious about if you were getting close to retirement. Right now, the markets have really recovered, but that's still a mystery about how how the stock market can be in such good shape at this point. But it's also with the low interest rates right now, that's creating a really challenging time for retirees. And so it's really about thinking more holistically about things like part-time work and retirement.
I like that holistic approach. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't sell any sort of financial products myself, but I'm just really interested in different approaches. So things like reverse mortgages, it's the one tool that actually benefits from lower interest rates. Everything else, when interest rates are low, it's more expensive.
And I don't mean to take over and talk about reverse mortgages, but the older you are, and that's one good thing I have is being old. Of course, I do have a reverse mortgage. I don't see how I could be selling them unless I had one, but that's another story. But, the older you are, the price of your property and the lower the interest rate, the more benefit you have access to. So right now is the time. Of course, we've got these big changes coming from the LIBOR to the CMT, but we'll live through it.
Yeah, it's the low interest rate. It gives you more borrowing capacity, and And then if you do borrow from it, the loan balance will grow more slowly over time as well.
That's true. And of course, your line of credit is still going to grow. And I've looked at some of the comparisons. Some of the lenders that actually do the funding have come out with rate sheets. And well, I'm not so worried about the rate as the principal limit and things like that for the borrower. And that would be what kind of principal limits, what kind of factors go into the rates, and it looks pretty much, the same. There might be some changes for us being the loan officers, but you know what? That's extremely secondary. So it goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still definitely more interest in it because it's, all the different ways of building a retirement strategy, the reverse mortgage by helping to reduce, like people who carry a traditional mortgage in retirement, refinancing that into a reverse mortgage can help take pressure off their portfolio. And then just using it as a backdrop or a resource to use on a temporary basis to help protect your portfolio during downturns and so forth.
Yeah, that there was a study, I think, done by Fidelity and also you guys over at the American College about taking 30-year Monte Carlos and that kind of thing. And I've talked about it on the show before, but those people with a reverse mortgage didn't use it that much, and they still left a much larger legacy. And the financial planners made a lot more money also. So it's kind of, and this better than anybody. We're living with a stigma that goes back, and and we're getting there. We're getting little by little. Education is the most important thing, and you are all about education.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's why I went to see you when you were over here at the Orange County Financial Planning Association and whatever, and I try to get on any and all webinars you are, and I think all of our listeners should also do that.
Thank you. Yeah. Then one of the reasons I moved to Dallas was because I was traveling around so much, and like Orange County is a great example. When I was in Philadelphia, it was a much longer haul to get there.
Yeah, you're kind of centrally located.
Everything's online these days.
Yeah. Everything is, and I am, I meet with clients on video. You can see what I look like, and even with that, they still seem to stay with me. And I think that the uncertainty of our time is helping the number more and more reverse mortgages. But not only should people be, because people don't like the unknown. But it's more than reverse mortgages. It's a complete package, which is what you offer. I only offer one thing, really. Other than that, I would defer to people like yourself who know a lot of different things, and it takes a lot of different things to survive.
Absolutely. It's because it's also just how to put together an investment strategy.
Yes.
There's a role for annuities. If you have pensions from work, how to make the decisions, like taking that lump sum. Social Security is so huge. How to
Oh, man,
claiming
what to do? That's quite a question. I think the lucky people are the ones that have no choice when they turn 62. But and then they don't have to worry about it. They just have to take it. But there's a lot more to it than that. It's how long does it take to break even? Are you still working? You can supplement with other products. For me, that would be a reverse mortgage. To others, that could be an annuity or something else, and you could put off taking Social Security till you can get a larger amount. Because we're going to live longer than we think, right?
Yeah. The current system that rewards you for delaying benefits, it was created in 1983 when interest rates were a lot higher and people were not living as long. So it's really in your favor today to delay Social Security to closer to, at least for the high earner in a couple, to wait towards 70.
Yeah, well, I'm way past that now. Can you imagine what I would be if I were only 62 and 65? Those 62 being your reverse mortgage birthday, and 60, I don't know who says that all the time, but it sounds good, and 65 being your Medicare birthday. So thanks for those two government programs. I think they're great. But we've got a couple of minutes left, but I don't know. I'm going to ask you an opinion question or so, and I don't know if you have one. I don't know if I have one. I see many arguments about inflation coming as we come out of this problem. I'm not sure if I agree. I mean, I can see some reasons why it could, but I also remember everybody assuring me without a doubt that property values would take a dive back in March and April, and you know what? They did not.
No, they didn't. And inflation, it's kind of shocking that when you look, we can kind of figure out what the market expects inflation to be because we have inflation adjusted bonds called TIPS, and we compare those to treasury bonds. Now, over the next 30 years, the markets are only pricing in like a 1.5% average inflation rate. It's
Wow.
even lower
Wow.
before the pandemic. It used to be closer to 2%.
Wow.
So it's tough to bet against the market, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot of reasons to be concerned.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
be
And you said the markets are doing, Wall Street and around the world really are doing fairly well. Now, does that help the man on the street? Yes, it does. I do think that the Wall Street and Main Street are definitely the same street, not as bad as Irvine, where they have to change the street name when you get over double digits. But they are connected when it comes to investments, and that's probably even more important when it comes to people who are retired. But there still are a lot of people out there that are really suffering from not being able to work in restaurants, not being able to work in the airlines, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just a tough time for everybody.
But we'll make it, right?
Yeah, that's all you can do. Hang in there.
I know. I mean, us in reverse mortgage world, we made it through October of 2017. We didn't think we would. I remember then I looked back at my previous clients and found 45% of them would still qualify. Well, you know what? Property values went up. People got older. We refashioned marketing a little bit, and we went right back to it. So I have a lot of confidence in the way our economy works, with or without political things. I mean, that's completely separate in my mind to a great degree, but I'm very, very confident we'll get there. And no matter how that works, we do have to look out for the retirees. That's my specialty. That's especially your specialty. So I really want to make sure that all of these, not just retirees, remember, don't be like me. Have a plan in advance. I mean, how many people of my age or a little younger had a financial plan. I mean, they had financial plans, but they had maybe they had annuities, this, that, what was going to happen if they had to pay for a wedding or two, buying a house. They even had things like education for their children built into it. But what they didn't have was health care built into. And I think that's really important right now.
Healthcare is changing all the time. It's
yeah. Well, we have somebody on the. We'll throw him on to say hello, but we're almost finished.
Hey, Jay, Wade, Dennis the Menace. How you guys doing?
Okay. Yeah.
We're doing well, actually. How about you?
Yeah, can't complain. I was going to ask Wade. I've been following him like you have the last couple of years as a reverse mortgage specialist. What can we do? We always thought about, education. What can we do to do a better job with the financial community to talk about reverse mortgages?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just one example with the American College, the RICP designation, just learning about the language that financial advisors use. And so really what intrigued me about reverse mortgages was the way they can help manage the sequence of returns, risk, and refinance.
Yeah.
And that's something that most financial advisors understand. And so being able to have that conversation with them to say, yeah, if markets are down, it's a bad time to be selling from your portfolio to fund expenses. But if you have a resource like a reverse mortgage,
yeah,
that can build that bridge for you to get over that downturn.
Yeah, you take that cash tax-free and, down the road, you feel like putting it back, you can put it back. It's, and every penny, not every penny goes to paying off the loan like anything else, part interest, part principal, but every single penny goes back to the line of credit. So, I mean, nothing is that good on the face of the earth. And Dr. Phau, let me tell you that Dennis, who is on asking this question, is a member of your academy.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks, Dennis.
And we want to make sure we're getting down to within a minute or two. Yeah, like I said, only 1 minute. So I think the important thing right now, Doctor, is to give out all of your connection information one more time.
Thanks. Yeah, my website, the easiest way to reach out and find out more is at retirementresearcher.com. And I've written 3 different books. I'm working on a 4th and final book about all of retirement income, and that'll be next year. But right now, got 3 books. They're all on Amazon. One on reverse mortgages, one called How Much Can I Spend in Retirement, which is about spending from investments and things like that 4% rule we talked about. And then one called Safety First Retirement Planning, which is about annuities and investments and everything put together in an overall strategy.
Yeah, and let me just add that if the book is a few years old, you have already updated it.
I had to with the reverse mortgages that you mentioned, October 2017.
I don't think there'll be that much of a change this time. Yeah.
Yeah, the reverse mortgage is the 2nd edition now because of that.
we need to go, but yeah, I am so thankful to you. Take care of yourself because we all need you, okay?
Well, thank you.
Sean, thank you so much. And for all the listeners out there, thank you so much for being here. And Kaplan will be here on the same corner in front of the cigar store next week. Everybody, take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Educated Retirement Show with Jay Kaplan. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. to learn more about your mortgage and reverse mortgages. And don't forget, each show is also podcasted on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. Thanks for listening.